That glorious morning, that glorious morning. What am I talking about? That glorious moment on YouTube where you don't know if anyone is there. Hello, hello. Anybody home? Anybody watching out there? Nobody watching out there? Knock, knock. Is anybody there? The thing is you all start appearing like about 2 minutes after I start talking. And I say this every time. I'm hoping that, maybe somebody from YouTube watches this and goes, we really need to fix that, right? Because it would make better content if you guys could fix something about that. Hello, Carlotta. How are you? So, hello. If anybody has any questions about astrology, so let's give the rules of the road. Please try as much as possible to avoid questions about your own horoscope, for which, if you asked and I really did answer, you would get a vastly generalized answer, which would not really serve you. And that is hence, therefore, and furthermore down the line, why I do not do things like that. Okay. So, but if you have any general astrologically related questions, you can feel free to ask. And I have a special announcement to make about an upcoming course once everybody kind of files in and we got enough people here to talk to about it. Then I'll go into that. Okay, but in the meantime, all you people who are watching, and I do see there are some people here, you can feel free to put some questions in the chat window. Like I said, I'm not going to interpret your horoscope on the spot. But if you wish to go to my website and schedule something in with me formally, then I'm willing to do that for you, right? Because then I can look at all your horoscope and not just, a couple of things. Okay. So that's one of the things I said when I first come on. This isn't for me to interpret your horoscope for you. This is for people who might have general astrological related questions, anything about astrology in general. Okay. So let's see. There's people here, but everybody's quiet. But you don't have to be so quiet. You can put things in the chat window and I will respond. Right now, I'm going to have my fisherman's friend. Keeps my throat from getting raw. They should really sponsor me, I think. I'm kidding. So let's see what else anybody has as a question. Everybody's really quiet today, right? But you don't have to be quiet. You can ask loads and loads and loads of questions. Just don't ask me when you're going to get married, when you're going to get a job, or things like that. There are several types of Raja Yogas. Raja Yogas generally indicate success in the areas of the chart that they're connected with, or kingly qualities, things along those lines. But the thing with yogas, in most instances, they really have to be qualified by the strength of the planets involved. And I'm not just talking about the dignity of the planets. What I'm talking about are the Shadbala of the planets, whether that planet is overall causing more good to the horoscope or bad to the horoscope. It's a lot of different ways that it has to be judged. Okay. So let's see what else we've got here. So just a reminder, because people are joining me and I know that people are getting here late and they don't necessarily know the rules of the road. I'm not here to tell you things about your horoscope. If you wish to schedule something informally with me, then I can do that. You can go to my website and you can find something on my astrological services page that hopefully suits you. But if you have general astrologically related questions that you wish to ask here, then I'm open to answering those. Okay. So let's see what we've got here. Well, Harry, the result of that, and this is why I don't do that. I don't know the strength of that Venus that's in your chart. I don't know its Baladi Avastas. I don't know its Jagradati Avastas. I don't know the strength of your Mars. I don't know what those planets are associated with in other Varga charts. And so I'm not wanting to give you any vast generalizations about things that are in your chart. The Shadbal of a planet has to be determined in a lot of different ways. There is like There are several different factors from Digbala, which is directional strength, to Chestabala, to the dignity of that planet in different Varga charts. So many things, and it would take forever to go over all those things today. Okay. But Shabla is a very well-rounded strength that gives a very decent understanding of the capacity of that planet to perform or not to perform. Planets with low Digbala generally tend to be very problematic because even if they're strong, they are planets that, even though they're strong, the individual has a hard time directing the flow of that planet. They just can't seem to pull it together. Planets with low Chestabala, they tend to not really shine as efficiently as the individual might like for them to shine. And so then they become more problematic too. Okay. So somebody's asking, Pancha Mahapurusha yogas only deliver the results during their dasha. That is when they're come to karmic fruition. But here's the thing: those things are always in the background. So things that are in your horoscope are inherent traits in you as an individual. So, for instance, if you're choose that you have trouble with relationships, then overall you have trouble with relationships in your life. But then when you're in a dasha where those planets are coming to fruition, then that trouble with relationships may become more prominent if you follow, right? So those things are always there. It's just that the dasha periods tend to heighten how intensive they are and at the particular periods of time in the individual's life. So please understand when you're asking questions like in Scorpio ascendant, Jupiter, Moon, Sun, and Mercury result. Okay, and so I've kind of said this a few times. Seeing results of planets in your horoscope, it depends on the strength of those planets. So kind of coming out and asking me things like in Scorpio ascendant, Jupiter, Sun, Moon, and Mercury result is going to like make me give you mass generalization about your horoscope, right? That's why I don't like going into that, because then you, as the viewer, attach to that and you go, the astrologer said this was going to happen. That period of time, it doesn't happen. What happens? You respect me less as an astrologer because I made a vast generalization about your horoscope. It didn't come true. So it's not good for me as an astrologer, and it's not good for you as somebody who's a viewer and potentially a client, because then you begin to believe something about your horoscope that stands a greater chance of not coming true. Okay. Does Rahu do better in Libra Rashi? Whether Rahu does better in the Rashi chart, which there are several other Varga charts too, and you also have to take those into consideration, but whether Rahu does well in a certain position in the Rashi chart is dependent upon the well-being of its dispositor, in addition to the well-being of Saturn. Okay, so those are the prominent factors. If you've got a good strong Saturn, Rahu dashas can be not so bad. If you've got a good strong Venus in association with that, with Rahu and Libra, then that can also heighten it and make it a little bit better too. Okay. So somebody's asking a question. Well, a stationary Mercury could bring some spiritual insight, but it could bring a lot of other things too. It could bring the capacity to see beneath the surface of things. If it's stationary, depends on if it's stationary direct or stationary retrograde. You see, so there's a lot of different things you have to take into consideration. I did a video some time ago on the Baladi Avastas and Jagradati Avastas, which are an excellent way of judging strength. You see, because if a planet is Kumara, which means youthful, or adult, which is Yuva, then it generally tends to be stronger. If that planet that is Kumara and Yuva also happens to be Swapna, but not Sushupti, which are one of the Jagradati Avastas, then it's generally a pretty solid planet. If it's Sushupti, that planet is prone to decay. So there are all sorts of things that are going to determine how a planet is going to perform in a particular house, rather than just this planet is in the house and it's this dignity and it's stationary. There's a lot of things that have to be taken into consideration. Yeah, well, then it would probably be more of an intuitive planet. I just read what you said about it being stationary retrograde. Okay. I am not here, just a reminder, I'm not here to look at your horoscope for you and predict for you. Okay, so you can, if you can keep putting those things in the window, but you're going to likely find that I'm not going to answer that, because I don't want to tell you what your Rahu Mahadasha is going to be like if I don't have your full horoscope. And really, if I did have your full horoscope, that would mean that I was here the whole time that I'm talking to other people, analyzing just your horoscope. And then that wouldn't be fair to the other people who may have astrological questions. Somebody's asking, which is more powerful, Chara Dasha or Vimshottari Dasha? That's a good question. Okay, but it's not necessarily that one is more powerful than another one. They're very different, and I'm going to explain why. Chara Dasha is, for those of you who don't know, is a Jaimini Rashi Dasha. Rashi Dashas, or Jaimini astrology, tends to function more in relation to the sun. Okay. Parashara astrology, of which Vimshottari Dasha is one of the many dashas, and those are nakshatra-based dashas, is more lunar in nature. So with the Jaimini dashas being more solar, the sun is related to the Atman, or the soul of everything. So the soul just experiences things, and it goes through those experiences regardless of the circumstances, and understands that all those experiences are something that is just there for the soul to move through. The sun is also a dry planet. And what do I mean by that? I don't mean that if you went up there to its surface, you'd find out it's dry. You'd probably find out it was very hot, and you'd probably burn up before you got there anyway. But what I mean by that is dry planets like the sun and Mars tend to take things as they are, okay, and kind of expect everybody else to do the same. So, in short, Rashi dashas like Chara dasha and things along those lines, they're very good for predicting the concrete things in one's life, such as difficulty with spouse, or you're going to get married, or your career is successful, or you make money. But what it doesn't do quite as strongly is show how you as the individual feel about those particular experiences. Okay, so it's less subjective and more just direct and concrete. That's what Jaimini astrology excels at. Vimshottari Dasha and Parashara systems of astrology tend to be more lunar based. Okay, so the lunar based dashas will show your subjective experience of situations, how you actually feel about those particular things that are happening in your life. So, for instance, you could be looking at a period of time in an individual's life, and it says, you're going to get married. The spouse is very successful. The spouse is very refined. The spouse is attractive. All of those things, Jaimini Dasha will tell you. You go and you look at the same coinciding Vimshottari Dasha period, and it shows you're not happy with your relationship. You feel distant from the one that you're with. And so it's two different sides of a situation. So it's not necessarily that one is more powerful than another. They're kind of showing two different sides of the same coin. And it's really good to check things through both of them before you give somebody a prediction. Okay. So that's a good segue, because the course that I'm getting ready to do, which starts August 11th, but which there is a 15% discount if you register early for the course. And by registering early, I mean by the 9th of June. And you can register either by trimester. I believe the price for that with the 15% discount is $279 for the first trimester. If you want to register in full, then the price for the full 44-week course is basically $764, which breaks down to less than $20 per class, because this is going to be a course that's going to go on until July of next year. If you have a hard time committing to a course that length, please know that each class is recorded to video. And if you miss a class, you can catch up with the video of the class. But I wanted to tell everybody what we're going to be talking about on this particular course. We're going to be learning basically Jaimini Sutras step by step, which along the way has lots of really wonderful techniques that actually work. Because what ends up happening with astrological texts is over time, they get kind of watered down. And people go in and they contribute things to the text that were their personal findings without really testing it. And so certain texts, astrological texts, have become adulterated over time with the person who translates its personal opinion. Okay. But with Jaimini astrology, it's less of that because it was written in code so that he could protect the integrity of the teachings. And so even though it's going to sound like I'm just talking basic things that we're going to cover over this course, a lot of these things have techniques for determining a lot of very valuable things that you can find out in the horoscope. So we're going to learn about the fundamentals, some more intensive related things, like the Swampsha, which is the sign that's occupied by the Atmakaraka and the Navamsha, and how to work with that. Fundamentals of Rashi Jaimini's Chara Karakas, which are the Jaimini Karakas. Natural or Naisargika Karakas as per Jaimini, which are different in many levels in the Parashara system. We're going to learn about the Padas, which is a Pada of a sign, and how other signs can give the results of a different sign. The person who's putting all the stuff on here like every few seconds, can you please just stop posting that? Okay, because I don't think anybody really is interested in seeing that, and I'm sorry to have to call you out, but it's just really kind of silly. So could you please not do that? Thank you. Okay, so we were talking about Jaimini's padas, which are the way that a sign can give the results of another sign. It's where a sign becomes mature. We're going to learn how to work with Chara Navamsha Dasha and Aya Dasha, which are two dashas that can help you to predict anything in astrology using those two dashas. I mean, if you're interested in this course too, there's a link that's up above in the video. But I'm going to go through the entire list because there's a lot of really wonderful things. A very accurate technique for determining career and capability in career, determining whether an individual will get married or not before you go into the whole thing of trying to see when somebody's going to get married. That really makes sense, doesn't it? Description of the spouse, diseases the spouse may be prone to, number and order of children, a really good technique for determining that. I've never seen an accurate technique except for this particular technique for judging the amount of children. Gain and loss of wealth, health and diseases, wealth and accomplishment, how to work with the Upapada, Jaimini Raja Yogas, determining type of home, passion and dharma, number of siblings, illegitimacy, whether somebody will be the head of family, speech disorders, whether somebody's ugly or not. Believe it or not, there is a Jaimini technique for that. Okay. Courage and will, moksha and spiritual development, the family deity, capacity to be a healer, disease tendency, whether somebody can be a writer, intelligence, overall intelligence, speech, yogas that can destroy the promise in a chart, how to work with Argala, which is a concept in Jaimini astrology whereby planets in a particular position make experiences more meaningful, bondage and imprisonment, blindness, determining that which the individual will be involved with during their life, and career determination. All of these things are going to be covered on this course, but we're likely going to break this course up into a couple of different parts. So we're going to try to, in the first level of the course, which lasts until July next year, to get through as many as we possibly can. But I'm going to be very sure to give lots of examples along the way so that people really integrate these techniques. So if you're interested in registering for this course, again, you can register by trimester or payment in full. The link is above in the video, and the discounted prices are listed until the 9th of June, at which time the prices will go back up for the course. Okay, so let's see if there's any other questions that individuals have here. Somebody wants to know if all planets are good in the 11th, as they say. I don't think so. The thing about the 11th house, Tammy, if you want to sign up, you can just go to the link that's above in the video where you see the little eye. I'm sorry to interrupt myself. I'll answer your question about the 11th too. There's a little eye in the video, and if you click on that, it'll take you directly to the course page where you can register for the course. Okay. So Sarbinder, you were wanting to know if all planets are good in the 11th. The 11th is actually a difficult house because things take time to develop with the 11th house. Things aren't immediate. And there can be delays with the 11th house because it's also the 6th from the 6th. So things don't always work well in the 11th house. It's just the 11th can bring increase of those things over time if that planet has the promise to bear the increase of those things. Otherwise, you'll find that it will bring delays to those processes. Okay. So for foreign settlement, which divisional chart should be looked at? The Rashi chart and the Chaturtamsha chart. Here's a trick. Foreign residency. Oh, okay. Somebody says they don't see that link in the video. If you go to authenticastrology.com, which actually there's a link down beneath in this video. And if you don't see it, just go to authenticastrology.com. That is authenticastrology.com, authenticastrology.com, and look for the courses link there. Okay. And I'll actually type in here, let's do this, right? And then I'm really am going to get back to the foreign settlement question. What I'm going to do, and my face may get a little bit jerky while I do this, but I'm going to put the link to the course in the video, because for some reason it should have shown as a card in this video, but I guess it's not doing that for people who are watching, dependent upon what you're watching it on. So I'm going to go to the courses link, and I'm gonna bring that up on the page, and I'm going to Control C that, and I'm going to bore you while I'm doing all that, and then we're going to paste it here. There you go, Tammy. You should have that link there. Okay, if you want to follow that. Okay, if you don't see that, let me know. We'll get you another one there too. So as you were asking, foreign settlement, which divisional chart should you look at? Really, foreign residency is pretty simple. Basically, what you're looking for is for the body to be in a foreign country and the home to be in a foreign country. Duh, right? Okay. So basically you're looking for body related factors like the Lagna, or the Lord of the Ascendant, or the Atmakaraka, or the Sun, to be associated with a foreign country factor. The strongest of those factors would be the sign of Cancer, because as per Jaimini astrology, Cancer indicates foreign countries, or the self-related factors interacting with Rahu. That's another way to do it. Or in the 7th house, because 7th house represents foreign countries too. Weaker factors that are there, but can still give it, are the 9th and the 12th houses. Okay. And you do the same with the home-related factors. So like the 4th house, or the Lord of the 4th, or the Matrukaraka, or the natural Karaka for residency or a home, which would be Mars. You can look for any of those things being associated with a foreign country factor as well, like is in Cancer, or the 7th house, or the 9th, or the 12th, or with the 7th Lord. Any of those things can give foreign residency if both the body and the home-related factors are interacting with foreign country factors in the Rashi chart and the Chaturtamsha chart, then there's a good likelihood that there's going to be foreign residency. Okay? Tammy, were you able to find it? I see you said thank you. So Monica is asking compatibility analysis. In your perspective, when should you apply the Navamsha reading? You know, different astrologers have a different approach to compatibility. I like to do what is called a Kuta report, which basically is based upon the moon's nakshatras. And then I like to look at a composite chart for those two charts and see the impact each individual is going to have upon each other. And you can also see each individual's overall capacity to relate in a relationship through both the Navamsha chart and the Saptamsha chart. All of those factors really have to be taken into consideration. And I don't necessarily do one before the other. I just kind of go with the flow of the horoscope and look at where it's kind of pulling me in. Okay. So anybody, I've probably got another 5 minutes to go before I'm going to have to move on because of other commitments this afternoon. But you can please feel free if you have one or two other questions that you'd like to ask, you can ask those. And I will endeavor to give an answer to that. Okay. Oh, no problem. Always happy to answer questions, right? But yeah, the Jaimini course that I'm going to be a very intensive course. I'm very big these days on doing longer courses. And in the past, I used to kind of try to cram as much into a course as I possibly could. And I've decided instead to take the level 1 course and then covering as much as you can as per the pace of the class, not really kind of trying to rush people along, and then just moving everything that you haven't completed over to a level 2 course. And at that way, we're able to rate a lot, because you know the thing is you can have the speed learning process, right? But you miss a lot of the fundamentals that are there. And with Jaimini astrology, those fundamentals are very vital. And there's a lot of ways to really very deep questions that a lot of other astrological techniques don't answer. Jaimini astrology really excels at things like that, like how to know how many children an individual is going to have. There's a really wonderful technique for that. As you do it, it's a bit intensive, but then once you know how to work with it, it's something you can do in, like, 5-10 minutes for an individual, and it's pretty powerful. It's the same with determining the spouse, whether somebody's going to get married. And there's a really wonderful career technique that I do that's based upon Jaimini techniques, and I'm going to share that on the course. And that's really good at determining what it is an individual is really meant to do. And what I do is I incorporate Jaimini technique with nakshatras. But you need to kind of have a good founding natally has an agenda horoscope, because basically transits are dependent upon dashas, right? So the types of results they're going to produce are going to be dependent upon the agenda of the dasha period that the individual's in. Somebody's saying, what house would I analyze to understand the outgoing of a court process? Seventh house can be the settlement, what comes from a court settlement, but it depends on what you're wanting, looking at negotiations. That's third house. So many other different things. Okay. Okay. So just a reminder, because I'm going to have to go. So just so everybody knows, so much is going to be Jaimini course. There is a discount now for early registration. If you register before the 9th of June, $279 if you pay by trimester. And then the next trimester payment a few weeks into the course, or I should say a month or so into the course. And if you pay in full, also the 15% discount. And this course is going to be 44 weeks long, with each class 90 minutes long. There will be a recording. So if you miss class, it's not really a big deal, because you can catch up with the course recording. I'm going to type that link here in the video again in the text section, so those who are interested can go visit the page. There we go. I just did that. And I'm going to have to go for now, but I will see everybody sometime soon back here on this particular channel. Bye now. Everybody take care of yourself. I'll keep blabbing until I push the button.